If your business can't run without you, you don't own a business, you own a job. And jobs require you to show up every day or they stop paying you. Most business owners call themselves CEOs, but majority of their time is spent on answering emails, managing people, and putting out fires, which is basically employee behavior with just a fancier title. The difference between trapped business owners that spend all of their day working 12-hour days, answering emails, managing people, and putting out fires, compared to the business owners that actually have a business that runs by itself, that provides them a tons of profit and a life of space, is one simple thing. It's mindset. Trapped business owners think like CEOs. They think that they need to do everything themselves and they need to hire more people. While business owners that run a business that runs by itself think in terms of leverage. How can we implement a system, a digital asset, or a tool that'll be able to do the hard work for us? That way we don't need to manage people or do things ourselves and constantly put out fires. I like to call these business owners chief leverage officers because their main job is to implement leverage into their business. And because of that, they're able to work 2 to 4 hour days, still go on vacation and make tons of profit in their business because of their specific way they think about solving problems in their business. Because they believe in leverage and not putting in more effort and working hard. They believe in working smart. And that business value comes from the things that you build in your business, not from your personal time and energy and effort that you put in every single day, which is trading time for money. Today, I'm going to break down the 3 core beliefs that separate CEOs from chief leverage officers. Number 1, how problems get solved in their business. Number 2, how growth happens. And number 3, what creates business value in their businesses. And specifically, I'll show you exactly how to shift your thinking to build a business that runs by itself. And real quick, I put together a free PDF resource on the exact insights I'm going to be going over in this video so you can apply into your life and business. All you have to do is click the link in the description, put in your name and email, and you get access to the PDF. But first, let me explain to you why your business might not be able to run without you. So currently right now, if you're working more than 12 hours a day, you're constantly putting out fires and you're feeling like your business would fall apart without you. If you simply don't sit on your desk and things would just fall apart, then you're experiencing a CEO problem cycle. Okay, so this might be what happened. You might be answering client questions over and over again. They might be asking you the same things again. Something might break and you might need to fix it yourself. Your team members might be asking you clarifying questions and you cannot take a vacation because something always needs your immediate attention. If you leave, your business basically crashes. And the worst part is to get out of this cycle, you need to work harder because not only do you need to build the systems, but you also need to maintain the business. So it becomes a dilemma and makes it very hard to get out of this position where the business needs you and it's critical that you work on your business. So the problem here is the business doesn't run without you, it is you. So you are the business. The reality is that these problems exist because of your mindset and how it got you in that position and how you think about solving problems. And this is why mindset is very important when it comes to solving problems. Most CEOs, when they approach problems, they have a short-term mindset. So they think that a problem will show up once, they solve it one time, and then they solve it again once it appears again. So they don't think about eliminating problems at the root, but they think problems are just natural, things that come up. So when a problem comes up, CEOs immediately think either I need to handle this myself, so they take care of it themselves, or they think I need to hire someone else to handle it. These are 2 choices that will both increase your personal time and effort in your business and will increase the amount of energy required to operate your business. And I'll explain in a moment. So for example, a client has a question, you just answer it right away. Or let's say your onboarding gets confusing or a little bit complex, you choose to walk through your clients personally. You just do it yourself. An invoice gets delayed, you chase it down. A team member needs direction or needs help, you drop everything to guide them yourself. Okay, so the problem here is that all of these are short-term thinking. When the problem arises, you solve the problem right there and then. Okay, this might sound logical. If it's a problem, well, just solve the problem right there. Makes sense. Now, the other side is long-term thinking. Now, long-term thinking, our goal is to instead try to eliminate the problem completely. So if a client has a question, our goal is to create a system that will answer the question for our clients for us. If a team member needs direction, well, our goal is to create a training so they don't need to ask us questions or clarifications every time. If the onboarding is complex, well, then we need to create a system or simplify things so clients can go through it themselves and not require your personal time and energy. The key thing is, why do most business owners always go back to short-term thinking and solving the problems right there and then? Well, there's multiple reasons. Number one, it's control. It makes it easier. They're in full control. They feel like they could take care of their problems themselves. It feels good. The next thing is ease. It's much easier to just solve the problem now and forget it until it appears again. The problem is, problems are always existent when running a business. There's always going to be more and more problems. And I like to call that firefighting. When it comes to firefighting, once you're in the state of firefighting, it's not like it's ever going to get better. A lot of business owners feel like, I'll solve this problem, it will eventually get better. It never gets better. It always gets worse. There's more problems that will come up, especially when you're growing and scaling a business. So here's the thing. That's option one. You take care of everything yourself. The second option is you hire someone else. So the problem with hiring someone else is that now you're increasing your costs. And not only that, but you're increasing the time and energy you need to manage other people, and that increases complexity. So both of these choices, I need to handle this myself, or I need to hire someone to handle this, both increase your costs and your time and energy complexity. So again, the problem with firefighting is that problems and frequency of firefighting or problem grow as you grow your business and do not decrease. So if we maintain this mindset of either choosing to spend more personal time, which you'll likely experience burnout, which is a higher cost, or choose to hire someone, which is going to have literally higher costs in your business and eat up your profits. So those are only the two options we have if we stick to the CEO mindset. Now, here's the thing. Most business advice will tell you to hire quickly, to scale yourself. The problem with doing this is without strategic thinking, this makes the dependency problem worse. So having your business depend on you, it becomes significantly worse. So now you have higher monthly costs, and you still need to train, manage, and quality control everything that your team does or the people that you hire. Okay, so it is going to require more work. And imagine trying to manage your business, what you're doing right now, and then hiring someone else. That's just going to stack up even more work. So this creates a dangerous pattern. Your revenue might grow, but your costs and the time requirements grow with it. So this is what happens when you have CEO thinking, when you think about hiring immediately and doing everything yourself, and you don't think about leverage. So you might grow your revenue, you choose to work harder and do more, spend more hours, your team is growing, you're focusing on revenue specifically, and things are getting more complex as you get more people on board and you start managing things yourself and more clients come into the picture. What's going to happen is, yes, you might increase your revenue, but what are the costs that comes with it? You're going to have burnout, less time to spend with your family and friends, more Slack messages, more complaining clients asking how to get their problem solved, and so on. So this is why it's very important that when a problem approaches, we actually have the right mindset. So we solve the problem at the root. That's our goal. Eliminate problems or build out problems out of our business. Build out problems. So right now, problems will always happen, but we want to build things so we don't have problems come up. So handling problems in your business the CEO way then creates a dependency cycle where you end up working in your business instead of on your business. You become the bottleneck for everything, which is not our goal. Okay, so let's say someone in your team doesn't know how to do something. Well, if everything's in your head on how to do things, then you're the bottleneck. And at the same time, you need to manage everything yourself, then you're pretty much the bottleneck. So you're going to make more money, but you're just going to cap at the point where you cannot work 16 hours a day. So it's limited to the amount of hours you can work per day, which is not our goal. So our goal here is to build problems out of your business. Okay, so this requires a mindset shift. So instead of asking, how do I solve this? We want to ask, how can I build something that solves this automatically? And this is a big shift. This is key. So when a CLO gets the same client question for the third time, as an example, they don't just answer it, they create a system that answers it automatically. So this could be a frequently asked questions, this could be a knowledge base, this could be an SOP, a video, a training, etc. There's so many different ways that you can implement a digital asset or system in your business that will completely build out problems out of your life and business. So another example, when a process breaks down, they don't just fix it. CLOs don't just fix it. They build a better process that doesn't break, or they update the process so it doesn't break as frequently. So the goal here, the number one goal here, is to go from being reactive to being proactive. So we want to stop problems from happening completely instead of constantly solving them. So let me show you how that looks like visually. Okay. So as a CEO, what's going on, which is most business owners, let's say there's 4 parts of your business. There's marketing, sales, delivery, and operations. Those are the 4 pillars or core activities of a business. For a CEO, most of the things would go through them. So if they do marketing, they'd be posting content themselves, or they do marketing themselves. Sales, they might do sales calls, they're doing it themselves. Delivery, they're actually helping clients one-on-one. And operations, they're tracking invoices, communications with their team and everything all by themselves. So what happens is, if you have your business set up where it goes all through you, the CEO, then you are literally the bottleneck. Okay. And in this case, you likely need to work 8+ hours a day. And in some cases, 12+ hours a day, which I've had clients who are working 15 hours a day with this current setup. Now, the opposite side of things, as a CLO, the mindset shift is, instead of having these activities done by you, we want to implement assets, systems, digital assets that could do the things for us. So marketing assets, sales assets, delivery assets, operation assets, and we want to have these things connected together in a business. Think of it as a system. This is a system. And instead, we want to build a system and build problems out of our system. So instead of us solving things ourselves, the system does the work. So we just need to build leverage or work on the system. So our goal is work on the system and working on our business. That's a key difference between a CEO and a CLO. And the key thing here, a CLO, because they have their business set up, they can operate their business in 2 to 4 hours a day. And then they can make the same amount of profit, if not more profit than a CEO. Well, definitely more profit in the long run, because they have more hours that they could spend in their day if they want to build stuff. You know, it is more leverage to be working 2 to 4 hours a day and make more money than to work 12-hour days and make a limited amount of money. Because if you can work 2 to 4 hours, you can momentarily increase the amount of hours you work to build things to generate more money. So time is leverage. You need time, especially as a business owner, to focus and to build things in your business. So how do you free yourself from the dependency cycle of constantly firefighting to building out problems in your business? Because I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, great, this sounds great in theory, but how do I actually make the shift? How do I actually become a CLO? So there's 3 tests I like to apply to my activities or things that I do in my business. So the 3 tests are the 1-year test, the weekend test, and the 1-to-many test. So the 1-year test will basically ask, will this activity still be generating results for me a year from now without additional effort? Okay. So a good example of a 1-year test is posting on social media. Okay. So I could post on social media, and the lifespan of a social media post is around 72 hours. Or I could post on YouTube, and the lifespan of a YouTube video is most likely a few months or a year. So it is way longer than posting on social media. So that passes the 1-year test. Now, the weekend test, if I don't work this weekend, does this activity still produce results? So an example of a weekend test is sales calls. If I choose to stop doing sales calls on a weekend, I don't get results. Sales calls, or if I choose to stop doing sales calls on a vacation, I don't get results. Now, on the other hand, I could create a VSL, and a VSL will continue to work for me on the weekend. It will still get people acquainted to my offer, and it will still explain how I do things. So a VSL is more leverage than a sales call. So that solves the problem. Now, the 1-to-many test. Can this activity serve multiple people simultaneously without requiring more of my time? So a good example of this is doing one-on-one clients, one-on-one client work. So one-on-one client work is still great, but after a certain point, it will require more of your time to serve more people. So one-on-one client work, you're spending custom work, you're doing personalized work. Now, on the opposite side of things, to pass this test, we would productize our service. So this could be in terms of templates, frameworks, AI prompts, or even SOP that allow us to deliver work in a way where it can be used multiple times with multiple clients, or can serve many clients at once. So hopefully you can see how these tests can help you shift your perspective from your current activities right now that are making you spend a lot of time into a different form of activity that will allow you to build out problems or to gain more leverage out of your time and energy. So these tests immediately separate high leverage activities from busy work, or try to upgrade a lower leverage activity to a higher leverage activity, or to replace an activity with an asset that will regain you back time and more leverage. So the thing is, most CEOs fail all three tests, and most CLO activities pass all three. So if you look at a CLO, most of their time, most of the activities that they're going to be doing is activities that pass these three tests. If you look at a CEO, if you look at anyone that's working 15-hour plus hour days, it's because all the activities they're doing fail these three tests. Okay, so here are a few examples. CEO activities that fail all three tests: answering client emails personally, manually invoicing each month, walking clients through onboarding yourself, personal sales calls for every lead, creating content from scratch daily, personal firefighting or crisis management with your team, manually reporting each client, creating custom proposal for each prospect. So all of these require your personal energy. And if you were to continuously do it, you'd think about hiring someone else to do the thing that work manually. Now, CLO, instead of looking to do stuff manually or hiring more labor, we look at implementing digital assets or systems. So we could build a frequently asked system or knowledge base where clients can get questions answered themselves. We could create an automated invoicing system. We could create an automated onboarding sequence. We could have a sales funnel that with a qualifying system with VSLs, forms and so on, where we have the system that gets leads to become clients itself. Content templates repurposing system, so we can use content multiple ways and we don't need to constantly create from scratch. Standard operating procedures and preventative systems, so you do not need to constantly firefight. An automated dashboard with real-time metrics, so you don't need to manually report for each client. And proposal templates with automation, so you can get clients onboarded quickly and you can share proposals faster. So this is really key. Shifting your perspective from CEO activities to CLO activities is the key thing that's going to allow you to build a business that runs by itself. So here's an action step. Audit your current activities right now. Anything that fails all three tests or any of the three tests, you can look to either eliminate it, systematize it, or replace it with a better activity. So the goal is to stop working on things that don't compound. Now, if you want specific examples of systems that pass all three tests, I've put together a resource called the 2-Hour Digital Assets Cheat Sheet, where I've put together over 50 digital assets and systems you can implement in your business right away, or you can reference to as a cheat sheet so you can see what digital asset tools you could implement in your business so you could regain back more time. If you want that, you can click the link in the description and grab it. Now, the second belief that traps business owners is thinking, if I work twice as hard, I'll make twice as much money. Now, the problem with this is that this is linear thinking and it creates a ceiling. Because if you think about hours worked, there's a limit to how many hours you can work. You can work, there's 24 hours a day, and I've seen people claim that they work 16 hours days, but I do not think anyone can do that sustainably over a long period of time. So if you have your business relied on you working 16 hours days, well, that sucks. That's unfortunate. You're going to suffer for a long time. Unless you actually enjoy working 16-hour days, which I don't see people wanting to constantly work 16-hour days when you can implement leverage and get things done in 2 to 4 hours a day. Why would you want to work 16 hours days? Well, if you want that, then you can probably click off this video and continue doing that. Okay, so here's the thing. When CEOs want to grow, they work longer hours. Okay, it makes sense. When they want more revenue, they take on more clients personally. Makes sense. Again, when they want to scale, they try to optimize how fast they can work by being more productive, get more things done in less time. Makes sense. But the thing is that most CEOs neglect is one very important factor that is very important. It's called your client capacity. So everyone has a client capacity. There's a number of clients that you could help right now that after that number, things will start to crash. You likely experience burnout, or you simply start hating your business and you want to take it all down. Okay, so the thing is, we do not want to go beyond our client capacity. So if you go beyond your client capacity, you'll find yourself firefighting all day, working extensive hours, trying to catch up, answering one-on-one questions with your business, relying entirely on your labor. So here's how it looks like. So here's how most business owners scale. So what happens is when they start their business, they scale really fast, right? So they scale. And let's say this right here is your client capacity. They scale so much to a point where they go beyond their client capacity, or the systems that they have cannot handle this amount of clients. Then here's where they experience overwhelm when they're constantly firefighting. So here, this could be like so many Slack messages, team requests and inquiries, client calls, and so on. So it becomes so much to a point where all of their day is doing this stuff, which is busy work. So the amount of time that they spend on scaling the business, they can't do that anymore. So they can't do sales and marketing. They can't work on their business. Working on their business becomes something that is in the back burner. So they can't work on their business. They're literally working in their business. So they reach a point where they're constantly firefighting. They can't handle all their clients. That's when they crash and churn. So when their client starts churning here. And this is the worst place to be in, because your clients are churning and at the same time you're doing all this firefighting. So you reach a point where you're forced to build systems. And unfortunately, here's where most business owners decide to build systems: when it's too late, when things starts crashing and churning, when they start actually feeling the pain. So the thing here is, we do not want to immediately scale and go beyond our client capacity. We want to be increasing our client capacity as we go along. So here's a key thing here. So CEOs think, if I work twice as hard, I'll make twice as much money. CLOs think on the opposite. If I build the right system, I can make 10x more money working half the time. And here's a visual that describes it. So a CEO will think about putting in more effort, which looks like so. They're putting in more effort, as visually shown here. But a CLO, instead, what they think about is, how can I put in a system? How can I put in a system, which is visualized as a gear here, to gain leverage so that I do not need to work as hard and I use digital assets and systems? Okay, so these are two types of thinking. There's linear thinking and then there's leverage thinking. With linear thinking, you think for every 1 hour of work, I can make X more income. You think about hard work. Hard work becomes your focus point. You focus on performing work activities at a higher rate, and when you focus on this, you'll think you'll need more manpower or need to grind hours a day. While on the opposite side of things, leverage thinking, you focus on the process and looking at what gears, tools, systems, digital assets can I implement so that I can increase the leverage of the activities that I'm doing. It's a really good example of this is, like, instead of using an axe to chop wood and then just choosing to spend more hours to chop more wood, you look at trying to use the chainsaws. Okay, you can chop way more wood with a chainsaw. That's an example of leverage. Or instead of pushing a boulder up a mountain with your bare hands, which can be cool, you're strong, you can choose to use a crane. So you can think about, how many more boulders can I get up the mountain with a crane over than just pushing it up manually, to get things done way quicker. And we live in 2025. There's so many forms of digital assets, tools, and systems that you can use to get work done quicker. So again, I want to say this caveat: hard work is important and is required to build a business. I'm not saying hard work is not required. It is 100% required. But hard work alone has its limit. After a certain point, some people say you can work 16 hours. After 16 hours a day, you cannot work more. You cannot work harder. So you need to look at smart work, which is implementing tools, assets, and systems that allow you to get more out of your hard work. And chief leverage officers work hard, smart. So they work hard and smart. When CLOs want to grow their business, they look at doing it through systems and leverage, as I just explained, and not on more personal time involvement and increasing operational complexity through hiring right away. So here's a CLO approach to growing a business. So this can be the complete opposite to what I explained previously. So when a CLO approaches their business, yes, they do want to scale. So we start with scaling. We get our clients. Okay, we get our clients. When we reach a point where we're at 80% of our client capacity, which is over here, we then focus on building systems. At the same time, we do this because we can still deliver to our clients. We still have time to deliver our clients, and we still have time in our day where we can build systems. Okay. Once we build the systems, what happens is we increase our client capacity. So we have bigger client capacity, like so. Okay. When we have bigger client capacity, then we decide to scale again. Then we can get more clients. We onboard more clients. Okay. So this is how CLOs scale. So it's like a step. Get clients. Let's clean things up. Let's build systems. Let's take our learnings from current clients. Let's create some templates. Let's create some frameworks. Let's create some workshops. Let's create some trainings. Let's create some AI prompts. Let's figure out ways that we could serve our clients right now with less time, so we can make room for more clients, so we can make more money and scale further without it depending on your time and hiring so many people. Okay, so this way, this works really good. So this allows you to scale your business and generate more revenue without crashes or phases of endless firefighting. Okay, so this is the problem. Like, I know a lot of people want to scale fast. They want to get to the million a month, 100K a month, 50K a month, however much you want to make, and they want to do it so fast where they think short-term thinking. So they end up trading their time for money because that's the fastest way to make money. Doing sales calls, sending DMs, doing one-on-one client work is a really good way to get money fast. But after a certain point, you're going to reach a client capacity. And at that point, you're going to think that you need to hire people to do more of the one-on-one work. Instead, we want to think about one-to-many work, which again goes back to the one-to-many test and the 3 tests I explained earlier. So this is key. You want to scale with systems. So you probably now understand systems scale without you. You know systems are key, so why don't people build them yet? The real barrier isn't knowledge, it's focus. Okay? You know systems, you know what to do, but most people don't do it because of focus. If you're already drowning in client work and firefighting, the idea of spending hours building systems feels impossible when you barely can keep up with existing demands. So what's the solution? How do we find time to build systems? How do we actually build a business that runs by itself? So here's what I like to call the 2-hour building challenge. And it's 3 steps. So step number 1 is you want to identify your single biggest time drain or bottleneck in your business. Think of the one recurring problem that keeps showing up. Okay, the one firefighting thing that you keep on showing up. You keep needing to solve that problem. For example, this could be walking new team members through the same tasks over and over again. Or it could be you might be chasing down late invoices or payment delays. Or you might be answering quick questions that interrupt your deep work. So maybe have a lot of Slack messages. Or you might be doing sales calls that take up your whole day. Whatever it is, you want to identify the biggest time drain or bottleneck in your business right now. That's step number 1. Step number 2 is we want to spend 2 hours every single day working on building a digital asset or a system that'll be able to handle it automatically. Okay? So you want to block off 2 hours every single day. Now, if you need help with identifying and finding the time to block off 2 hours every single day, I have another video on my channel. You can watch that. I'm going to put in the cards above and the link below. You can watch that to know exactly how I manage my day and make time for everything as a busy business owner. So, for example, let's say someone's asking the same client questions over and over again. You could build a frequently asked questions document or an SOP, a video training, etc. Let's say you have too much scheduling problems. You could set up an automated booking. If you have onboarding confusion, you could create a simple checklist for people to follow along to get onboarded themselves. If you have invoice delays, you can templatize the process or create an automation, maybe on Zapier, maybe on Make. You have too many sales calls, you can create a video sales letter, or you could pre-qualify people on the DMs or sell via DMs instead of doing sales calls. So there's ways that you could think. You want to use your creativity. Look in your business. Figure out how can I implement digital asset? How can I restructure my processes in a way or design stuff in a way where I do not need to be doing this personally yourself. So the goal here is you want to keep putting 2 hours every day until that system is online and working. Do not multitask or start building another system or start another project. The key thing here is we want to actually ship projects and actually ship these digital asset systems. Because if we don't, then we just continuously stay in busy work. That gets us to step number 3, which is ship it immediately. Use your new system instead of continuing things manually. So within a week or maybe a week or 2 of putting 2 hours of building every single day, you'll likely save 30 minutes or more every single day going forward. So let's say you create a video sales letter, you don't need to do sales calls, and you reduce your sales calls, say from 1 hour to 30 minutes. You regain 30 minutes back. And if you think about it, you just spent 14 hours to regain 182.5 hours back in a year, which is basically 23 full 8-hour workdays back just by spending 14 hours working on building a system that'll be able to regain you back more time. So most people never start building systems because they think it takes months. The truth is most high impact systems can be built in 2 hours a day for a week or 2 with 100% focus. The reason why most business owners think it will take months is because they're so busy in their day-to-day operations doing busy work that they can't actually focus. So when they actually try to do these things, they spend 5 minutes, 10 minutes here. Clearly it's going to take you months. But if you actually put in 2 hours of focus, 100% focus on building the system, you can possibly get it done in a week or 2, maximum a month. So here's the thing. Pick one recurring problem that wastes 30 minutes of your time weekly. Commit 2 hours every day this week to building a simple system that handles it automatically. Track how much that time saves you daily and ship it, and start becoming a chief leverage officer and building a business that runs by itself and not run by you, where you need to work, where you need to experience burnout, and basically running a business that sucks.